Hello everyone. Is your partner stressed? Do they get defensive when you try to give them advice? Well, I'd like to tell you about how to be there for your partner in the right way. There is a right and a wrong way to be there for somebody. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed marriage and family therapist and a clinical director of Your Family Expert. First thing to get in mind is you need to occupy listening space. Be a listener, not a fixer. Most people, not everybody, but most people don't want your advice unless they ask for it. What most people want is to solve their own dang problems. They just want somebody to hear them. They want somebody to understand them, to empathize with them, and to validate what they're experiencing. And it can be painful because you see the person that you care about, they're suffering, and you think, well, the best way to help is to take the problem away. Not so. The best way you can help for most people is to table your own agenda, shelf your agenda. The advice that you want to give, the pearls of wisdom that you have, just put them on the shelf for now, because what they need is for you to hear them. So shelf your own agenda and listen to understand. Don't listen to give advice. Don't listen to tell them what to do. Far too many people try to give advice without fully understanding the problem. So occupy a space where you're telling yourself, I am a listener right now. I'm going to ask questions with the intent of understanding. I'm going to validate that something is difficult or validate that someone has the right to feel angry or upset. I'm going to repeat in my own words what I'm hearing, so that so that they know that I'm hearing them and that they can give correction if what I think I'm understanding is actually not complete. They can explain themselves better, or I can do a better job of listening. Occupy the space where you are listening, asking clarification questions, showing empathy, giving validation, and if someone's confronting you on your behavior, own it. If you can find a nugget in there that you can own, then do that. That will help them to not be defensive. And once they feel heard, they will often be empowered to solve their own problem and deal with their own stress. Now, sometimes they do want your advice and they'll ask for it. And sometimes they may need your advice whether they realize it or not. But if that's the case, first listen to be a listener. Once you go through this process that I've just outlined, then you can ask, would you like to hear my advice? Would you like to hear my perspective on this? And they can say, you know, not right now, I'm not in a space for it, or yes, I'd love to hear it. And that's the best way to help your partner de-stress. If you wade in and try to tell them what to do, they may get the impression that you think they're not smart enough to solve their own problems, but you are. And that could trigger defensiveness. So once again, listen to understand, ask questions to understand, empathize, validate, and take ownership if you have behavior to take ownership of. At that point, if you want, you can ask if you can give advice, ask for their consent. So these are some principles for dealing with your partner's stress and for helping them to deal with yours.